Hello there, duelists. It's the season of spook. Well, it was yesterday. So we're digging up a strategy that just won't die. You can't kill what's already dead. And as you can see, it's Vendread on the playmat. While he hoped to be the next good ritual deck on first release, the Vendread cards never really hit the heights of that first wave. So we've got some other undead delights to go along with the Horde. So let's get right into it. Alright, straight into the zombies. So I've broken this up into engines just because I feel like that's the most sensible way of grouping up the cards. So we've got 2 Vendread Slayer and 1 Vendread Battlelord. So these guys are similar in a number of different ways. They can be summoned with a Vendread ritual spell, and then they've both got a sent to graveyard effect and then they get to add a card. So in Slayer's case, if you send to the graveyard, you can add yourself a Vendread ritual spell by sending a Vendread monster from your deck to your graveyard. And Battlelord is very similar, apart from he adds you a ritual monster by sending a Vendread monster from deck to graveyard. Their main effects are slightly different, so Battlelord's kind of got a shock master-esque effect. So you can banish 1 Vendread card from your graveyard and declare a card type, and then your opponent can't activate those card types for the rest of the turn. The problem is it's not quick, so it's not a disruption. It's only really going to be used defensively. Slayer's better or worse depending on how you see it. So you can banish a zombie monster from your graveyard to boost himself by 300, but he does gain that attack permanently. And then we've got 3 of the Vendread main deck monsters. So these vary in their easiness to summon and their offensive capability. So all of them, if a Vendread monster is used to be ritual summoned by tributing these guys, gain an effect. So Vendread Revenants, you can target a monster and banish it. Houndhorde, you can target a spell trap and banish it. And then Vendread Striges, if you destroy a monster in battle, you can attack again. The Revenants and the Houndhorde's kind of ritual monstrous effects are quick, which is great because it kind of makes Slayer kind of a disruption. And they also have some additional special summoning effects. So Vendread Revenants, you can special summon if it gets destroyed by battle, but you banish it when it leaves the field. Houndhorde, you can discard a card to special summon it from the graveyard, and then Striges, you can reveal a Vendread card, special summon it from the graveyard if it's sent to the graveyard. They all get banished after they've used that special summoning effect. But yeah, I think I'd say that Striges and Houndhorde are probably the most versatile, and Revenants takes a bit of work, I would say. From there, we've got our classic zombie engine. So we've got 3 Shiranui Solitaire. So this is tribute a zombie monster to special summon a zombie tuner monster with 0 defense from your deck. And what we'll be running apart from Uni-Zombie, so this guy's, you can discard a card from your hand to increase his attack. Sorry, his level, should I say, increases attack. Increases level by 1, and you can also dump a zombie monster from your deck to your graveyards to increase a card on the field level by 1. If you do the dump from deck, it means you're locked into attacking with zombies, which isn't the worst case, but I mean, again, kind of wish it wasn't there. From there, we're running 3 Mezuki, which you could argue, you could cut down maybe to 2, but I still like it. I think the only problem is that if you kind of get stuck in hand, but you kind of got your ritual engine to kind of help with that. And then finally, we've got a small zombie world package. So we've got 2 Necroworld Banshee. So while it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to activate a zombie world from your hand or deck. And then while it's on the field, zombie world can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, which again, the monster's effect on field doesn't come up very often. And then we've got 2 Glow Up Bloom, so you can banish it to add yourself a zombie monster from a level 5 or higher zombie monster from your deck to your hand. And if you've got a field spell, you can special summon that monster. You are locked into zombie monsters once you've used Glow Up Bloom, so you've got to be a little bit careful with that. And then we've got 1 Doomking, so this guy's an absolute beast. So if he's in your graveyard, you're in your standby phase, and there's a field spell, you can special summon him in defense mode. And then if a zombie type monster activates an effect, you can either negate that effect, or you can banish is it a card? Yeah? Nah, it's a monster. Nah, be better with card, but yeah, banish a monster on the field. But he can use both of those effects, which is really, really solid. So he's kind of 2 disruptions in 1 card. And then we're running 3 hand traps, and what better hand trap would there be to synergize with this than 3 Ash Blossom? And okay, straight into the spells, and again I'm going to kind of try and keep this in line with what we had in the monsters section with, you know, kind of the engine. So pre-preparation of rites, so this will add you your Revendread Origin and your Revendread Slayer, because Revendread Slayer is listed in the text of Origin, which is super neat card design, and one that everyone was getting mad hyped about when it first came out, and then they just never really followed up on it. So Origin might be one of the best ritual spells in the entire game, and it's still true even now. So it can ritual summon from the hand or from the graveyard, and you can banish zombie monsters from your graveyard as its you know, tribute material. It's absolutely amazing. And then beyond that, if a Slayer would be destroyed, you can banish Revendread Origin from the graveyard. So it's just an all-round really solid card. And I think if Vendread had had another couple of cards that were of this sort of caliber, I think they would have been, you know, a solid choice. So Revendread Evolution is the other ritual spell card that I'm using. So you can tribute a Vendread monster from your main deck, which is where it gets, you know, useful. So if you send Slayer, if Slayer gets sent to the graveyard, you can search the Revendread Evolution, and then Revendread Evolution can also special summon or ritual summon back from the graveyard. The problem is that the monster is destroyed during the end phase of the next turn, but obviously you've got Origin, so you can offset that. I think it's a solid addition, and you know, well worth a 1 of. It could be even a 2 of, if I'm being honest. Then I'm running Vendread Charge. So Vendread Charge is, I suppose, really to get our Revenants out of the deck. So you can send a zombie monster from your hand or from your field to the graveyard to special summon a Vendread monster from your deck. So I think you could definitely choose to cut this, but I think the power of a Slayer with the Revenant's banish effect is well worth, you know, the chance of the Revendread Charge in the main deck, and also it kind of gets stuff out your hand, so stuff like, you know, Necroworld Banshee or Mezuki and stuff like that. So it's a good way of kind of, you know, getting stuff out your hand and setting up. From there we've kind of got our Zombie World kind of package, so we've got our 2 Zombie Worlds, so this makes all monsters on the field and in the graveyard zombie monsters, and also your opponent can't tribute. Yeah, neither player can tribute summon. Obviously I know that super well because it comes up massively, especially against that Monarch matchup. So there we've got 3 Super Polymerization, so this goes super well with Super Polymerization. This goes well with Zombie World. So because all your opponent's monsters are zombies, it means that you've got access to some unique options in the extra deck. And obviously it can't be disrupted and stuff like that, so that's great. Then I've got a few one-offs, so I've got Instant Fusion, I've got Foolish Burial, Upstart Goblin, and a Monster Reborn. Okay, and onto the extra deck. So this has got all manner of summoning mechanics in this, which I think is really cool. So we've got, for fusions, we've got 1,000 Hours of Tricks, obviously instant fusion target, you can pinch, you know, your opponent's monsters is a bit of, you know, spot removal, and it can also go into kind of like, you know, Link Karibo will be used as link material. From there we've got our kind of 3 Super Polymerization targets. So we've got Dragonecro, we've got Starling Venom, and we've got World Chalice Guardragon. So these fulfill different roles really. So World Chalice Guardragon, 3 link materials, which it's not unheard of. Again, I think the one that would be cut first if you were going to choose to cut anything would be, you know, the Guardragon. It can attack all your opponent's monsters, and if it battles an opponent's link monster, you can banish a link monster from your graveyard with the same link rating and destroy that card, and then inflict damage equal to that monster's original attack, which isn't super relevant. Starting Venom gains attack equal to 1 monster on the opponent's side of the field, and then it can target a level 5 monster on your field and become that name. Again, it's not that relevant, but it's 2 darks, which is obviously, you know, the most common type in the game, so it's quite easy to use, especially even if you don't have, you know, your zombie world up. And the Necrodragon is a super unusual card, but it's 2 zombie monsters, so that makes it really easy to summon. It can't it can't destroy anything by battle. If it battles a monster, the attack of that monster becomes 0, and then you special summon a token with that monster's attack. Again, quite strange, but again, you know, because it's so useful to get out, I wouldn't build it without it. From there, I've got 3 level 8s, so I've got Borreload Savage Dragon for a bit of disruption. I've got Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiends, kind of like blow up the field and attack. I've got 1 Psy-Framelord Omega, which, you know, goes really well with kind of, you know, like Mezuki looping. From there, I've got 1 Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier for just those monsters that refuse to be targeted. And then for XYZs, I've got number 60 Dagaris. Most of the time, you'll be using either its draw effect or its discard effect. Again, I would say it doesn't come up that often. I think if there's a card that you could cut, it would definitely be that. And then on to the Link monsters. So we're going 1 Link Karibo, which with Glow Up Bloom kind of, you know, means that you can get, you know, your Doom King out and stuff like that. And then got Vampire Sucker, which obviously is really good if you've got Zombie World up, because it means that, you know, you're drawing every time your opponent special summons from the extra deck, from the graveyard, shall I say, so, which is really quite nice. And there we've got 1 Avendread Savior. So this guy's, I suppose, not as, you know, widely used. So he's got an attack boosting effect by dumping a zombie monster from the deck to the graveyard, and that reduces your opponent's monster's attack by 200 times the level. So, you know, dumping Mezuki, your opponent loses 800. You know, he's effectively a 2/4 monster. He's quite a cool card. And then you can also add back a Vendread card from your graveyard, which is quite nice and obviously synergizes quite well here. From there we've got 1 Cross Sheep. So Cross Sheep, you can actually get the Ritual one or the Fusion one off. Well, in fact, you can get all of the effects off. But again, it's most of the time it's the Fusion or the Ritual effect they'll be getting off. And then 1 Knightmare Cerberus and 1 Knightmare Phoenix just for the spot removal. Again, you could choose to bump this up and go, you know, Knightmare Unicorn, yeah, Knightmare Unicorn, and then, I don't know, Access Code Talker or whatever you want. But I've chosen to kind of keep things on a fairly budget-friendly level. The Vendread deck is surprisingly good, in my opinion, and the zombie engine, Shiranui and Uni-Zombie, is still a powerful way to get the deck shambling along. It does have a weakness to hand traps, but you name me a 3-year-old strategy that doesn't. And Zombie World can be really good at disrupting quite a lot of decks. So it's a 3 for relevance from me. If anyone has seen my other conclusions, you'll know I'm a sucker for variation. And Vendread have it in absolutely buckets. So all the summoning mechanics and the various engines are great to, you know, interweave and figure it out. So it's a 4 for the fun factor. As for cost, $170 is what I've estimated from TCG Player, but you could easily up this, you know, with different extra deck choices, just, you know, to raise that kind of power ceiling. So, are Vendread eating your opponent's silly big brain plays, or just managing to stay out of their shallow grave? You let me know, and thanks for watching.